Hi. So, I've been thinking about making this video for a while now, how I made peace with my mom. And I'm not the guru, I'm not the pro. I don't have the techniques. I'm just going to share my story. But I'm coming from a point of view where currently in life I encounter a lot of people, young and old, a lot of people who have difficulties with their parents, and a lot of times with their mom. But, it doesn't matter who it is. Usually parents, they mean a lot to us. But because of our blood ties, because we're family, a lot of times it makes it very difficult. Now, everyone has a story to tell about everything that happened between them and their parents, how difficult it gets, the good and the bad, sometimes really crazy stuff. In my terms, now that I reflect, I really had it good. There were things that I was really sensitive about, things that at times pissed me off, at times made me hate myself. But most importantly, what happened to me with my parents, and specifically my mom, is that I got this really low self esteem. Because no matter what I would say or do, I would never fit her image of what she wanted me to be. And I tried to get her affection and love. I tried to be liked. I tried to get her approval. And yet, no matter how hard I would try, I would still mess up. It's just nothing fits. Nothing is the way she wants it to be. And that hurt a lot. And people who grow up in such families that are sometimes physically or emotionally abusive, and we might not notice it because for us, or people that go through something like it, that negativity and the hardships becomes the norm. And we assume that, oh, well, this is the way the life is. And we kind of grow a thick skin. And some people gain that resilience where, okay, well, suck it up. Life is tough, but I can do it. I'm gonna adapt, I'm gonna change. And for other people, it's gonna be complete destruction where they will hate themselves. They will hate life, they will give up, feel like a complete failure, and don't wanna do anything. And there's a very, very thin line between the two. And it's all about you and how you decide to live life. Now, again, when I look back, and I'm sorry, I'm not a good storyteller. I haven't had a thing in mind of how I'm gonna tell you this. I just I want to make a video, and this is probably gonna be the topic. And here it is, right now. Whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking is just coming out of my mouth. So for me, ever since I was a kid, I kind of noticed that my brother was always the favorite one. And of course, while my parents were more gentle with me, they were always, always, always comparing me with my brother. And that hurt. Because being a girl, I'm not strong enough, not big enough, not tall enough, not this, not that. And it's like, whatever brother does, he's always better. In anything, in everything. And it's like, what? Why can't you be like your brother? He's already 2 years older than me, and I love him. I love my family. There has been plenty of hardships, but I've learned to deal with them. I've learned to listen to myself. But it's like all that comparison really hurt. Because every single action wasn't original and wasn't mine. It was always on a spotlight and being compared. And it's like, well, why don't you eat as fast as your brother? I'm like, I want to eat slower and just enjoy food. I don't have to chew it down and gobble it up and be done. Walking somewhere, getting places. I was just scared as could be. Because it's like that comparison was one thing, but just trying to fit in and trying to be as good. And it's like, well, your brother is lifting stuff and carrying stuff, so why don't you do it? And you try to do it, and then everyone's yelling at you, you're a girl, you're not supposed to carry that stuff. But you just say that I have to do that, and now you're mad that I'm doing it. And it's like, no matter what I would do, just doesn't work. All right. Well, then my mom would ask for my opinion. And it can be small things, like life always builds up from the smallest things. And it's like, whether you would go grocery shopping, and she would ask me, like, well, would you like something? Yeah. We have enough money? Yes, please. And, in Lithuania, we have these amazing curd bars. But, I'm a sweet tooth, so anything sweet, chocolate, cookies, whatever, works, please, anything will do. And my mom would ask, like, well, between the few of these, which one would you like? This one. Okay. And she's gonna get the other one because she felt like that one's gonna be better. And that thing where a parent figure or anyone is like assuming what will be best for others is dangerous. Because if someone expresses their opinion of what they prefer, and you think, yeah, but, well, this one is a bit more pricier, but that one tastes better. It's cheaper, but it's better. It's like the price doesn't matter eventually. So little things like that. But it's like, okay, well, my opinion doesn't matter. Wherever I would kind of share my preferences, it was just ignored. All right, that's fine. Dressing up, like, oh yeah, yeah, plenty of clothes. Dress up the way you want, and I would dress up, and I'm like, what the fuck are you wearing? Dress up that like differently. You're supposed to wear this. Okay, I dress up like my mom wants me to dress up, and she's like, go eat. I'm like, all right, let's go eat. And there's been a few instances where I'm eating and just like little bit of soup drips on my shirt, gets dirty, just a little spot. My mom, I can't blame her. You've seen Gary Vaynerchuk's videos probably, and he talked about how everyone has it. Our circumstances, our culture, times where we grow up, our environment, everything affects us differently as well. And the way I'm reacting to my parents, and specifically my mom, well, she's been through stuff. She grew up differently. And let's say my grandfather, my mom's dad, he's very strict and really chaotic, at times angry. He's just gonna get an idea and he's gonna go do it right away out of the blue. And then if things aren't going the way he planned, he gets really mad and, he's very hot tempered. And so he would also like things organized and clean. So if anything would be out of order in my mom's place or my grandparents' place, there would be like a lot of yelling, a lot of times hitting, and a lot of times, it's just like forcing kids to be the way he wanted them to be. So my mom grew up in a harsh environment, but she adjusted. But that tidiness became OCD. And now anything that's out of order and not the way my mom wants it to be, it gets super triggering for her. And I grew up in a way where I'm not gonna tell the whole story between what's happened between me and my mom and stuff, but for about, I don't know, 18 years, 17 years or so, my personality and the way I started growing up became shedding who I was, shedding my original skin, so to speak. Not that I'm a reptilian, or who knows, maybe I am. But it's like being authentic wasn't the choice anymore because my authenticity was getting in the way of the way my mom wanted me to be. So I started wearing a mask, trying to fit it, trying to be different, trying to act the way she wanted me to act. And no matter what, I just wouldn't fit in. So not only I cannot be authentic and I cannot be me, if I'm trying to be something my mom wants me to be, I can't stand it, but I'm trying my best. But I'm failing at it, so I'm not good enough. Not good enough, not strong enough, not anything. And so my self esteem really gone down. Feeling bad about myself, hating myself, and also feeling very vulnerable to the point where, as a kid, I became hyper vigilant. Because there were things my brother was doing and wasn't doing, and the way my surroundings were, I didn't have the time to be the child, and I had to put up that parental figure or a bit more mature, adultish, so to speak, where now I had to take care of things. And okay, gotta become more mature and do things faster and just try to get around to fit in and just try to make things peaceful because, oh boy, I think like a lot of people, I really hate bickering and all the arguments. Like it's just not needed. If there's any like that, I'm like, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna isolate. I'm gonna close myself up. I don't want any of it. Like if we can talk it out and solve things peacefully, that's great. But if there's any bickering and stuff, like you yell, you have your opinion. I'm just gonna shut it up. All right, for you. But I've learned that for a long time, my opinion didn't matter. What I had to say, what I was, what I was feeling didn't matter at all. And a thing that hurts children the most is when your parent says, "You're someone I never had to worry about." Well, some might see that it's a compliment. Oh, look, I was so mature, I was doing stuff, my parents never had to worry about me. Yes, look at me, that's great. Some will see that, exactly, they never really cared. They were like, oh yeah, that kid, so mature, so grown up, can do everything by themselves. Amazing. Not even a single pondering and asking, hey, how are you? You doing okay? You want to talk about something? So anytime I would try to bring up something, dismissed, wrong, bad, and guilty, how dare ya? Should be like your brother, right? And it's like, my mom is really passive aggressive. So there's like, by her nature, things she says and does, she might be communicating and have great intentions, but the way it comes out, boy, it hurts. And I learned to grow that thick skin, but it's been a lot of pain and tears. And specifically, it's like one thing my mom's approval the most. Like, she's the person I look up to. Like, like, look, no matter what, she's still my mom. I love her dearly. Trying to fit in, trying to be whoever she wants me to be and stuff. Like, for a long time, it was like that. And it's like every single time, no matter what I did, just went otherwise. And I was wrong, bad, and guilty. So it's like became the worst child, no matter what. Kind of went with it. And I still see it happening to this day, but I've changed. It's no longer trying to fit in. And I can talk about it and smile, but for a very long time and even last week, there's always something happening. And the thing with parents and anyone in your life, like really, what I'm gonna say, you can just scan your life and see how you can apply it in your surroundings. Doesn't matter who that figure is. But it's like you have to be aware enough and have that introspection to where you know your values and who you are, how you see yourself as a person, and how you would like to be, who you would like to be, what you would like to be. And for me, it was like I had people I looked up to, and I knew by watching a lot of, let's say, anime or movies or playing games, I grew in that mindset that people who feel the most pain and people who go through so much suffering will try to be different so that no one else around them would have to feel that way. So that no one else would have to suffer and feel the pain that they felt. And there are plenty of quotes and sayings in that regard. But it really grew on me that I want to be different. If my mom can say stuff that will be hurtful, and if she can yell, what can I do to react differently? And when she's upset, when she's yelling, when she's doing stuff, and that's her way of expressing. This is how she learned to survive and control things in her life. That's her stuff. But I'm different. And what she does, what my brother does, what others do, not everyone's like it. Not everyone's like, again, over the top and stuff. But I've learned that I don't like yelling. I don't see the use of it. To get into an argument, to be right, like, being right doesn't matter at all. It's like, why? To prove your point, and at what cost? To be right at what cost? Hurting someone's feelings? Putting someone down? Like, I'm gonna show you your place and you should respect me. So, like, what's the use? How about we're equal human beings? And so for myself, like, at an early age, while there was like a lot of hurting and adjusting and closing up, I became a person that had a really hard time talking. Because I knew like my opinion doesn't matter. And no matter what I say, no one will give a damn. And even then, if someone listens, I'll be wrong, bad, and guilty. So there's no use talking. And if I say something, well, bad, don't do that. Don't say it. You're wrong. Zip it. So close up. Don't talk about stuff. And there was like a lot of suffering inside. So that kind of depression and hating life and wanting to be out of here. Because no matter what you do, you're still bad, wrong, and guilty, and you're not fitting in, being that black sheep of the family and stuff. It hurt for a very long time. But every day, using Gary Vaynerchuk's tips and a lot of our figures, you have to learn how to quiet down that noise. If there's like a lot of negativity coming out from your parents, your siblings, coworkers, friends, anyone, you have to shut it off, one way or the other, or at least minimize it. If you know that you cannot escape the surroundings and you have to be around those people, at least you have to minimize how much you have to hear of it or experience it, or learn how to react differently. And for me, one thing was finding figures that I look up to, so that someone would inspire me and at least show me the way of what can I do to change and be better, and how can I achieve the best version of myself. And I was hurting, yes, like many others. A lot of people are suffering right now. So it's like you see me smiling and talking, like, good story, positive, yay, amazing, right? No, but I was in a really bad place. I didn't learn to live. I was pretty much a failure. Like, stuff didn't work for me. And even then, like, okay, every single day, you have to practice those muscles. Want it or not, if you want things to change, you have to practice it. And to slowly, every single day, look at yourself and define who you are and what you would like to be, who you would like to be, how you would like to be. It's like John Lennon said, happy. Okay, I would like to be happy, yes. I would like to be kind. I would like to be non judgmental. I would like to be the one who will listen. Because in my environment, no one gave a damn. No one wanted to listen. Everybody wants to talk, no one wants to listen. And I was like, I want to be the person that I need. If I need someone to hear me out, listen to me. If I want to share a crazy ass story and I know no one will believe me, I want to be the person who will accept you the way you are. Tolerate anything. Craziest story? Yeah, okay, you're fine. Let's go with it. And so, slowly developing that point of view of, I see how life is, and I see things I do not like. So how can I be the better person to not cause what others are doing? To not do what they're doing, to not say what they're saying. And it wasn't like an overnight change. Oh yeah, I want to be kind. Fine. But there are so many things that happen in life that will trigger you, that will call out various reactions. And every day you have a chance to practice that muscle. To react and feel there's an emotion coming up, there's a reaction coming up, there are plenty of thoughts and feeling states and emotions and stuff. And you have it, but to be not only aware of it, but control and consciously choose what you do with it all. That is a skill. Everyone does it to one extent or another. But it's like not just that, not just being the best version of yourself you can be, but at the same time, knowing who's around you. And I started learning. My mom is like this. This is what happens that triggers her. This is what people say or do that makes her react like this. And I would just watch what happens in her life, how she reacts, why she reacts that way. The same way I would look at myself, I would try to analyze her and everyone around me. And again, it's not an overnight thing. Oh yeah, I'm seeing my mom, and now I know everything about her, so now I can control the situation. Even to this day, plenty of challenges. And my mom is hot-tempered, just like my grandpa, and verbally very abusive. She can get very manipulative. Like if there is something she wants to get, she can use words to hurt your ass and make you dance the way she wants you to dance. Mom, you're skilled. I love you, but you're really skilled. And it's like, even up to this day, every single choice I have. Oh, mom, I decided that I want to learn and do massages. What kind of job is that? Who would do that? You don't need that stuff. Look at your brother. He tried to get it and he failed. So no way you're gonna get it. Come on. You don't need that stuff. Find something better to do in life. And mom, look, this is the guy I fell in love with. Are you out of your mind? How about you find someone who's a perfect guy and rich and will take your mom? I don't want that kind of stuff. It's like the wish I got from my birthday from my mom is like, I hope you come to your damn senses. I hope you find a better guy. It's like, thanks, mom. It's like the whole spiel, appreciative as can be. And it's like one thing after another. But like this year, I work those muscles here and there slowly, and it hurt. It hurts every single time. But I minimize those reactions because I know that it triggers a reaction. And I want to say that stuff. But I know I can be the bigger person for myself. I don't have to prove stuff to anyone, only to myself. And I know, like, hey, I could say stuff. There are things you're hiding from people that you would not like me to tell others. I'm not gonna tell it. I don't need to blackmail you and do stuff on you. It's like, not like you, mom. And every single time, it's like, there are memes where you tell your mom a secret or something very intimate and private and personal to you. And the next thing you know, like, breaking news, your mom's telling everyone. It's like, yep, that meme is true. Hey, mom, like I was a kid, like, mom, my period started. What do I do? Next thing I know, she's calling all her friends, telling stories. I'm like, thanks, mom. Well, that's embarrassing as fuck. I'm not gonna tell stuff to you anymore. Thanks. It's like ruins. So many things happens like that, and it built up over the years. It built up to the point where it's like I knew no matter what I say, it's just gonna be bad. So the communication between me and my mom became really difficult. And it's like those things where things she's gonna say, or anyone in your life. You look at them and what is it that can happen in their environment that can trigger them? And when they're triggered, how do they react? And when they react like that, how do you react? What triggers you? What kind of emotions get triggered when they do or say something, when they don't do something or don't say something? And it's like you have expectations, and expectations are very dangerous because they're not going to serve you. Most of the time, people are going to get disappointed anyway. So it's like dropping expectations, trying to drop assumptions as well, because we assume how things are going to play out, but usually it's not like that. And it's all real life examples of it happens in the present, and you have to deal with the present. Whatever plan, whatever you were preparing for, ain't working. Doesn't matter. Like, okay, well, going like that. And it hurts a lot. But when you learn to be okay with yourself and accept yourself the way you are, and define what kind of person you want to be, it gets a little bit easier. Because then you know that whatever is triggered in the surroundings, when you are reaching for a certain goal, like, okay, if my mom triggered a reaction where I want to be a little rebel, I want to say something back, I want to say how much she has hurt me and what she said, like what that means to me. But I know in her world that doesn't matter. No matter how many conversations we have had, and I've expressed interest in, like, okay, let's just sit down and try to talk about it. And from my perspective, this is what happened. It doesn't mean that I'm right. Mom, this is just my perspective, and I would like to hear your story so that we could just, ain't happening. Something super personal, where my cousin tried to rape me, and my mom knew, and I just tried to have a conversation. She always blamed me. Okay, let's sit down. Mom, you know, I always wanted to get your perspective and at least have your support. Uh-uh. And right now, it hurts like hell, still, up to this day. Because her words mean a lot to me, but learning where you know, like things you're gonna get from that person and not gonna get from that person. Things they can say to hurt you, and things they will not say that will hurt you. Things they do and don't do, all those things. When you start analyzing and learning about it all, this is exactly where you can gain some control, only of yourself. You can't change people, you can impact them, but you cannot change them. And so, for me, I know that whenever something happens, I'm gonna be there to save the day. I'm gonna be the better person for myself just because I want it to be. And I will always help her and support her. But I know at times of need, when I call her and talk to her and say stuff, I'm not gonna get it. When I know that I'm not gonna get it no matter what I want, I try not to have expectations. Because, okay, there's a thing I want and this is what I expect to get. I know what I want, but I know I'm not gonna get it. So the expectation drops that vulnerability and disappointment because you already know what's gonna happen. And when you learn to play like that, when you analyze yourself, what is it that you feel? What is it that you want? When you learn to ask the right questions about yourself and about others, and when you compare those and you know the truth about yourself and others, and dropping the expectations and assumptions, it kind of leaves a lot of space. And of course, number one thing for me and so many others is that when you live in the abusive environment and things get really tough, you either you either grow a thick skin and learn to adapt and learn that there's going to be a lot of things you're going to get and not get. So you better learn how to react to it all and fit in. Or, which is super hard for many, move out. Get out. That relationship, no matter who you love, no matter how much you love them or like them or admire them, how much that relationship means to you, when it gets really tough and toxic, what most people call, you need to get out. Because if in everyday situations you cannot control yourself and you constantly get triggered, no matter what you do in life, if you live in that kind of environment, no matter what you do in life, it will never get better. You can do spiritual work, you can work on yourself, you can try to get happier, but in that environment, you will always go back to that point zero. Let's say I live with my parents and I'm doing spiritual work and I'm doing introspection and I'm looking at the beliefs I have about myself that are limiting and just trying to get rid of them. And yeah, it feels like, look, yeah, okay. Negative thoughts and stuff like that, I'm just gonna drop it. And just work it, work it, work it, work it, work it. And every day, there's gonna be a scenario. And it feels like, okay, I handle it today. And tomorrow I handle it too. And the day after tomorrow I handle it too. But it keeps on happening. The negative words, the emotional abuse, the all the aggressive, passive aggressiveness and the way, people communicate and being narcissistic and stuff. They don't change. And eventually, no matter what you do, you still go back to your comfort zone because it's just too much. There is no progress, and you give up. And you go back to that point where it was just the way it was. Nothing changes. If you get out, which is super hard for many people because now we have all those solutions. Look, no matter how bad the toxic place is, if it is your comfort zone, you will not want to leave. Oh, look, well, I'll have to find a job. I'll have to pay rent. I'll have to struggle and be super frugal and basically be living on $20 a week if I'm lucky. Okay. And you have to face the reality. Can I do some suffering? Really get out of my comfort zone. Get in that unknown that so many are scared of. Struggle. Be scared. Be anxious. Be stressed. But be free from family that is hurting you every single day. And if you're able to get out and deal with life and the challenges to create a new comfort place, to create a new place where you're either by yourself or with someone who is there for you, who listens to you, who supports you. Life changes dramatically. You change dramatically because you're no longer in the environment where you're getting triggered. Now you have more control of yourself. You might have less phone conversations. You might meet each other less, but you change. And this is one of the hardest things because most people grow up in a way in a culture where kids do take care of their parents and grandparents, and it's very respectable. And in some ways, I'm doing it for my relatives, and in some ways, I'm trying to get out of the circle because I know how bad it can be, and I know that whenever I get close to them, there is a certain period of time how long I can be around them until stuff starts happening. And I know, like, okay, 8 hours, that's a max. Because after the 8 hour, you know, my mom takes it for granted. And things go back to the way it was. And there's gonna be like a lot of phrases, a lot of comparisons, a lot of other things. And again, back to the old stories. And I'm not trying to change her. I'm not trying to say that, like, okay, I don't like that. I don't agree with you. Like, just be yourself. Whatever makes it work for you, be you. Because that's what I want for myself. I want to be me. I am not necessarily right. I don't know more than others. I'm not some sort of guru. There's like a lot of flaws in my life. But when I am me, when I'm doing what I think that I like, what I think that I love, what I feel comfortable with, when I'm focusing on me, not to be selfish, but to live, not survive, not exist, to live, to enjoy life to some extent. I have to be who I am. I have to be authentic. I have to be me, do things I like. And if I'm not doing it, and if I have to wear a mask, then life becomes suffering. And of course, suffering is inevitable. Jordan Peterson, look at life, the way this world is. But it can be lessened. Anyway, I don't know how much this is of value, but I look at a lot of people, old and young, people I have sessions with, people I talk to in my day-to-day life, people in different communities where, as one of my hobbies, I'm a translator, and I work with a lot of youth, and I hear them talking about stuff. They share about their families, and they share about how depressed they are, how they're, again, no one listens to them, no one cares. Everyone tries to regulate their life, and absolutely, until kids get, into teens and young adults and into 18 years old, parents have to have the responsibility. Like, no. Because in today's world, if we let like 4-year-old decide their gender and stuff like that, like that's not good. So of course parents need to have some control, and like I respect it completely. But I also am looking for ways of what can I do to be a figure, not that someone has to look up to me, but what can I do to be a better person and not create situations that was hurting me that my parents did. And when I look at others, it's like eventually everything goes back to the childhood. People who have lived for 60, 70, 80 years, they still hold on onto those grudges and traumas and things that have happened when they were kids, when they were 5, 6, 7, 8. Parents divorce, bickering, things that they've been told. It's like, okay, well, if you help a person talk it out, express it, and confront it, a lot of their pain, not like it passes overnight, but it becomes easier for them to deal with it. And for youngsters too, if they find an outlet to actually express themselves, not to yell, not to say, this is what I want and it has to be the way I want, it's never going to be like it. But to find a way to communicate. Because I finally found a time, or I've trained myself where I can be honest with my parents. It can hurt. I know they won't like it. But It's my life, and they can either accept it or not. And even if they don't accept it, I'll do my stuff. And so for others, to not try to prove stuff, to not try to be right, but learn to communicate, to express your point of view. It's like we have to look at the two sides of the coin, right? And so learning to listen to someone else's perspective and learning to share your perspective so that we can agree that we disagree and we discuss and we learn and we make decisions from there. And I think it's very important that communication and being yourself and being authentic and learning to look at yourself and define who you are, who would you like to be, how would you like to be, and then looking at others, how they are, and not trying to change them, but understanding them and learning to dance with every single person. Dance, not just cha-cha and tango, but emotionally, psychologically, when you're around anyone. Learning to connect, to communicate, to draw back, and have this constant communication where at least you can have some sort of relationship that is not hurting as much. Too painful, they say stuff, you back off, but you learn not to hit, not to yell. You learn to set boundaries, which is super important. And people start respecting you when you do that. When you learn to say no, which is probably one of the most powerful words you're ever going to say, use, people respect you. Anyway, this is my story. It's not the best story, but I made peace with my mom. And there's a lot of things she says, does, doesn't say, doesn't do. But I learned to accept her the way she is, not trying to change her. I can communicate, Mom, you did this, you said it this way, and because of this, I didn't like it because I have a fear or this has happened before and this is why I'm reacting this way. But without trying to change you, here's how I'm dealing with it. So you be you, I'm gonna do my stuff. And learning to freely communicate. Not to change, not to try to be right, not to push your opinion onto someone, but just learn to hear, to listen, to understand their perspective, and also share yours without trying to, make it right or this has to be my way. No, it doesn't. So hopefully for someone this is gonna be useful. If not, well, at least you watched. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.